Woodland takes down the U.S. Open. As we all watched in primetime golf, Koepka placed second, and a strong charge, but wasn't enough to knock off Woodland. How about this, Teddy? We always like to put things in betting perspectives here. Before the tournament, getting as high as 60-71 on Woodland. Played well throughout the weekend. Didn't fold. What a great Father's Day for that guy. $2.25 million richer.
Forget that guy. It's a great Father's Day for anyone that has 60 or 70 to 1 ticket on Gary Woodland in their pocket. That's what'll make you happy. Of course, Tiger Woods, as we talked about, not really a factor in this one, finishing 11 shots back. But the guy I want to talk about is Koepka, who finishes in second, continuing his torrid run in majors. I know he was the favorite here, or one of the favorites, but when you're talking about a guy that's won 4 of the last 9 majors and now comes in second in the U.S. Open, we got to give him credit, even though he didn't seal the deal on Sunday. Still, an impressive run of golf from Brooks Koepka, who continues to be, in many ways, an undervalued commodity in the betting markets because of his relative anonymity compared to so many other high-profile golfers who seem to have a little bit more personality.
Yeah, and keep in mind also, the next major, Teddy, the British Open, will be the 4th major of the year, switching places with the PGA, so we'll see how that goes off, but never too early to took odds in that either. And how about this, as you talk about, Koepka is like a machine, 6-1, Teddy, to win the British Open. Rory McIlroy, 10-1. Tiger Woods, as always, at 12-1, also with Dustin Johnson at 12-1. Should be a lot of fun coming up in about a month. And as usual, Teddy, with Tiger Woods, plays in the U.S. Open. Going to take another couple weeks off. Must be nice to play 4 to 5 golf tournaments a year and bank all that money. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. A lot of us wish we could switch places with that man. How about this, Teddy? I'm sitting on Saturday night in a 4-hour recital watching my daughter with no internet coverage. And when I get out, the Lakers made the big move for Anthony Davis, which was amazing. We all thought it would come, but I didn't know it would come that quickly. Ball, Ingram, Hart, 3 first-round picks, which include, Teddy, the number 4 overall pick, going to New Orleans. And how about this, as we anticipated? Look at those Lakers, Teddy, plus 350 to win the title next year.
Stop. We got to talk a 4-hour recital?
No, Teddy. Man. 4 hours and 10-minute recital. Get it right.
Yeah. I mean, the 90-minute ones are rough. The 4-hour ones, I can't even imagine. Kudos to you for sitting through it. I'm glad it wasn't on Father's Day. Although it's always fun to watch your kid. It's never fun to watch 600 other kids. But, I mean, what do we call this? I got to call it one thing. Absolute thievery by the Pelicans. All right. The Lakers there weren't 15 suitors for Anthony Davis. All right. There weren't. All right. The Lakers were bargaining against themselves, against a guy that they could go out and sign in the open market next year at this time. They didn't give up 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 lottery picks for Anthony Davis to go along with LeBron. All right. I understand 2 of them are already in the NBA. Guess what? Ingram's pretty good. Ball, there's hope for Ball. Plus 3 more in the future. Anthony Davis, all-star, no question. Anthony LeBron, 2 all-stars, no question. The rest of the Lakers? No, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it 1 iota. Maybe I'll be wrong next year at this time, but Lakers is the favorites. Not with my money.
Yeah, it's interesting there because I think a lot more of the chunk of this is going to come later down the line when you're talking about a couple pick swaps from the Lakers when that dynasty is technically over. But you bring up a pretty good point here because Anthony Davis is forcing a trade. He has the leverage with the team and basically says to this team, hey, you want to, play a little bit of dodgeball here? Or you want to get in the, step in front of the train on this one? I'll just wait it out a year and you get nothing back here. And it seems like they got almost the identical type situation as the previous year before for Anthony Davis. So where was the trade chip? Where was the leverage here? It all came from Anthony Davis. He went exactly where he wanted to go, but yet still a massive haul back. It's going to be interesting here, Teddy, because we take a look here. Anthony Davis leaves New Orleans, and I don't want to say a smaller market team, but obviously it's not Miami, glitz and glamour. It's not Los Angeles. He goes out and gets moved out west. Now, coming up next, Zion's probably going to be number 1. You get the number 4 overall pick. Are we going to see something in the future, Teddy, in 1, 2, 3, or 4 years where some of these players, which is that nice little core they have built, might want out and say, I want to go to the Lakers. I want to go to the Knicks?
Well, I mean, that's the prevailing story in the NBA is the guys get developed in the smaller markets. They hit free agency. They go to the bigger markets. When they don't hit free agency, they get traded to the bigger markets. Lakers have been acquiring superstars since before I was born. Same story with the Celtics. Same story with many of the teams with salary cap space in the offseason. But, let's be real in this one. Someone's always going to pay. And when you have teams that are on the downside that are looking up, well, they can often overpay, cost themselves problems.
Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of fun talking in the off the mic section a little bit later today to see what's up with the NBA and what we can look forward to. But look, if you're betting baseball right now and you had any team in this race between the Padres and the Colorado Rockies over the previous 4 days, you probably went through Pepto-Bismol, Tums, and I don't know what else, because 4-run leads, 5-1 leads, late inning collapses. You had everything, including a ton of runs. One team gets up 3 or 4 to nothing. It was erased in the bottom of an inning. Teddy, I'm watching the scoring updates yesterday, and they're hitting the total for the game, which, again, this isn't 6.5, 7.5, or 8.5. 13's getting covered by the second inning. What a weekend up there at Coors.
Yeah, when you're cashing over 13s in the second inning, you know you got the over right in that one. But look, when you got hitters' conditions at Coors and both pitching staffs are struggling, it wasn't, and the bullpens got worn down, and it can get really ugly really fast. Obviously, when we talk about setting all-time records, we're talking about something that got really ugly really fast. Worth noting, a 9-6 game on Thursday. That was the pitcher's duel of the series, and the only game that didn't go at least 10 runs over the total.
Yeah, and that's saying a lot for baseball right now. You're seeing it even yesterday. It was nice to see the final night game finally stay under the total, but it is a bludgeoning of the baseball right now. But as we know, Teddy, just from your perspective here, we know those markets like to correct themselves. It looks like you can't bet a team total or a game over right now without cashing it. Talk about maybe some of the markets that might shift over the next week, week and a half, 2 weeks, because we always see a correction coming back. They're not just going to continue to score 18, 19 runs a game and cover by the 4th or 5th inning.
No, of course not. That being said, when you're talking about how the totals marketplace moves over the course of the season, moves in little increments. So what you'll see is after a run of unders, and now that we're in June and the weather has warmed up across the country, you're going to see, the 8s slowly become 8.5s, or really become 8 minus 20s, and the 8 minus 20s become 8.5s, and so on and so forth. But as we start ratcheting up and as we see these overcashing again and again, you'll see the 8s become 8.5s, become 9s. It happens in Junes just about every year, but it doesn't happen overnight.
How about this, Teddy? You know what? We've been counting down towards football season. It seems like we're never going to get to either A, the end of our previews, or B, just get the football season and just taking a look, because baseball's going to carry us pretty much through the rest of the summer here on That Betting Show. But we'll do some previews here. When I look and see it's the 17th of June, and I start thinking to myself already, Teddy, well, in 2 weeks, we're going to be in July training camp start. We're not that far away, so let's get after it again today. 2019 NFL season team preview. Those Kansas City Chiefs. How about this? We were talking about teams 66-1, 80-1, 100-1. Now we're going to take a look at a legitimate contender here. The Chiefs are 8-1 to win the 2019 championship, plus 360, Teddy, to win the AFC, and also their team total for this next year coming in is 10. Now we saw last year 12-4, 5-1 the AFC West. The offense was absolutely impressive last year. MVP, obviously, as the quarterback under Andy Reid, 50 touchdown passes. A lot of things are going to change this year looking in, and quite frankly, Teddy, all eyes are going to be on Tyreek Hill. He is the engine that makes that offense go. If he's suspended at all for any bit of time, that's going to put a hurt in them. Obviously, we know they have a good offensive line, good tight end situation. They run multiple running backs. And again, an electric young quarterback, that's where it starts. But also, let's not forget the defensive side of the ball. There's a lot of moving parts out there. D Ford is gone. They bring in Frank Clark, and we'll see if that makes it up. But look, they spent a lot of money to bring this guy in, and also shipping D Ford out. It's a tough division here. And as you saw last year, Teddy, 12 wins. They're dropped back to 10 here. Should be an interesting year for the Chiefs.
Yeah, but you don't often see teams lined higher than 10. KC might have been 10.5 if people respected their defense. Nobody respects their defense. Therefore, they're at 10. I'm not shocked at all by that number. And we are talking about a team that was pretty darn good last year on offense. They were plus 0.9 yards per play. Every snap, they outgained their opponents by nearly a full yard. That's impressive. 6.8 yards per play on offense. The league average was 5.6. The Rams were number 2 at 6.4. There were only 6 teams above 6. The Chiefs were at 6.8. So their explosiveness last year was truly second to none. They finished minus 0.2 yards per rush. That had everything to do with the fact they couldn't stop the run. Number 31 in yards per carry allowed, even though they ran the football well. And Patrick Mahomes with a QB rating of 113.8 in his first year as the starter. Opposing QBs were only 92.7. Let's give KC credit. Their defense at least forced turnovers. They were plus 9 in turnovers last year. So we have Mahomes coming off a record-breaking season. Legitimately. We have an offense that lapped the NFL last year. We have Andy Reid back, obviously, and Reid isn't, Reid doesn't have 15 more years. He's in absolute win now mode. New DC, defense coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. And, a lot of the talks are about the defense. We have to talk about Mahomes. When you go 113.8 your first year and you throw 50 TD passes, all you can see from Patrick Mahomes is the same regression. There's not room for him to get a whole lot better. So I do worry about Mahomes in that regard. Now we have a defense it's an offense that, offensive line looks good. I'm not worried about the skills and talent. You put a lot more, Tyreek Hill's a unique playmaker, but this offense runs through Mahomes and Andy Reid's play, and then Eric Bieniemy's play calling. Even without Hill, I think they're going to be able to move the football. Defensively is where the issues are. Now, obviously, Justin Houston go bye-bye. Eric Berry goes bye-bye. Lee Ford goes bye-bye. They brought in some pretty good talent. Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, comes back. The cornerback, Brashawn Breeland, he was banged up last year. He was an impact play. He was a marquee free agent a year ago, and now he's like a non-factor. Of course, picking up Frank Clark for Seattle, trading their 2019 first rounder and 2020 second rounder to get him, and then making him the highest defensive player in the NFL, not named Von Miller. The pass rush should be there. The secondary play should be there. Kansas City on paper looks pretty darn good, just like they did last year.
No, I tend to agree with that. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch here. And it's just, one of those things we always remember, Ted, is we like to say the bad beats. And I still go back to holding that Chiefs ticket and celebrating on a fourth down stop with off sides was the actual call. And it begs to believe, did Andy Reid possibly miss up his last chance to get that Super Bowl win? Because they probably, Teddy, last year, if they go into the Super Bowl, Kansas City versus LA, are they favored in the Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs?
Yes, they'd have been favored over. It would have been close. It would have been closer to pick them than the actual line was. I think the Chiefs would have gone off about a 1.5 point favorite in that game. And it's worth noting, you want to talk about coaches with a great regular season track record. Andy Reid does not match Bill Belichick's postseason track record for, success. When it comes to regular season and season win totals, Andy Reid has been an over machine in Kansas City and dating back to his tenure in Philadelphia. An excellent regular season head coach.